I think that there was just look, I'm very, very pleased that we got a former vice chair of Goldman Sachs, and who if I may say, is an extremely cogent, open, and intelligent guy, and that came through in every second of what he said, Robert S. Kaplan. But I thought that there was a failure to properly understand the complete magnitude of the corruption that has infiltrated the United States government at all levels of the Federal Reserve, at the Department of Treasury, that has been documented not just by people like former Governor Spitzer from his days policing the tech bubble in New York City, but also by Neil Barofsky, the Special Inspector General for the Troubled Asset Relief Program, by Elizabeth Warren when she was the head of the Congressional Oversight Panel for the bailouts, and of course by Sheila Bair, a Republican, when she was the chairman of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. These are all folks that are not partisan people, that didn't, prior to at least Elizabeth Warren recently, have any careers in politics, and yet they stepped into those offices and they realized right away that homeowners were just not a priority. And in fact, if homeowners were going to be screwed in the process of bringing banks to greater solvency and cushioning the profits and the bonuses, then they would be. Think about that. Think about the suffering. Think about the hundreds of thousands of people that were fraudulently foreclosed upon after having been deceived in many cases and given mortgages themselves on false terms. We could talk about individual responsibility all you want. I mean, and quite frankly, I would go even further than Governor Spitzer, because it's not just the issue of the double standard of moral hazard here. We have an economic system in this country that makes it impossible for working poor people to find affordable housing. And the fact that for a time, our irresponsible leadership thought that a Band-Aid on that wound was creating credit that people couldn't qualify for on terms that were far too steep and usurious, is not necessarily those people's faults. They were telling people making 15, 20 grand a year, working stiffs, bus drivers, people waiting tables, they could own a home. And don't read the fine print. Well, who wouldn't have done the same thing in their situation? We have an extraordinary show coming up before our syndicated stations join us. We're going to begin the top of the hour with a discussion, once again, of the budget, the president offering Social Security and Medicare cuts, and how that is impacting allies. You're listening and watching to Take Action News with David Shuster when we continue.